Everyone says, childhood shapes you. Standard therapy talk. Tell me about your childhood. But what does that actually mean? How does a 4-year-old's experience determine adult behavior? Where does it go, the memory, the feeling, the event? If you don't remember it, how does it still control you? What mechanism makes yesterday's child operate today's adult? We say early experiences matter, but that's just restating the problem. It's not explaining how or where or why. Freud found something specific. Not about trauma being important, about where forgotten things actually go. The reason has nothing to do with memory failing. It's about what forgetting actually is. The standard explanation goes like this. Bad childhood creates damaged adult. The therapy model. Remember the trauma, process it, heal. But this assumes memory works like a filing cabinet. You retrieve the painful file, you examine it, you put it away properly, you move on. That's not what Freud said. Actually, he said the opposite. Freud's claim, you don't forget childhood, you remember it perfectly, just not consciously. But where is it then? The unconscious, and he didn't mean this as some vague mystical concept. He meant it as a specific claim, like memories don't disappear, they get moved. Well, not moved exactly. More like buried alive. Still active, still influencing. Still operating beneath everything you think you're choosing. Consider the proof woven throughout daily life. Slips of the tongue, dreams that feel urgent but make no sense. Random anxieties that have no clear origin. A man terrified of dogs who has no memory of being attacked by a dog. Where did that fear come from? It didn't appear from nowhere. It came from somewhere he can't access. The fear is real. The source is hidden, which raises the question, why can't he access it? Because the child experienced something unbearable. Not traumatic in the dramatic sense we usually mean. Could be desire, could be shame, could be rage at a parent, could be a sexual feeling, something that threatened the child's sense of safety or love. The mechanism? Repression. Not passive forgetting, active pushing away. Let me be honest, this sounds like mysticism, but Freud meant it mechanically. Like tension in a muscle you can't consciously release. The energy doesn't disappear, it gets redirected. Redirected where? Energy has to go somewhere. It can't just vanish. Freud was thinking like a physicist here, and here's the turn nobody expects. Symptoms aren't damage, they're solutions. One of Freud's patients, a woman with a paralyzed arm. No neurological cause. Doctors couldn't find anything physically wrong. Freud's realization, the arm solved a problem. She wanted to strike her father, buried rage from childhood, but she couldn't consciously want that. Too dangerous. So, paralyze the arm. Can't act on the impulse if the arm won't move. And here's the thing, this happens unconsciously. She genuinely cannot move. Her arm. She's not faking. It's not all in her head. Well, it is in her head, but it's real. The symptom is a compromise between the desire and the defense against it. Consider this. Every neurotic symptom is a sentence in a language you don't know you're speaking. Obsessive hand-washing might be about guilt. Anxiety about bridges might be about fear of crossing an emotional threshold. Your body and mind create elaborate metaphors. You're the author and the audience who doesn't get the reference. But why metaphors? Why not just feel the feeling? Because children can't process contradictions the way adults can. An adult brain can say, I'm angry at my father, but I still love him. You can hold both. A child's brain, more absolute. Mother is everything. Food, safety, the entire world. Any anger at mother equals threat to survival. The child can't think, I hate her right now, but she's still good. The child thinks, I hate her means she's bad means I'll die. Unbearable. This is why childhood matters specifically, according to Freud. Not because children are blank slates, because they're overwhelmed processors. The same event at age 25 versus age 4. Radically different impact. The adult has context, perspective, other relationships. The child has. This moment equals reality equals forever. Historical note. In 1896, Freud thought all neurosis came from actual sexual abuse. Then he revised. Some of the memories his patients reported turned out to be fantasies. Controversial then, controversial still. But here's the key point. Whether the event was real or imagined, the child experienced it as overwhelming. The psychic reality is what matters. Which brings us to the uncomfortable part. This is where everyone stops listening. Freud said babies are sexual. Obviously, he was wrong. But wait, what did he actually mean by sexual? Not adult sexuality, not genital, not reproductive, more like pleasure-seeking, bodily intense attachment. Infant, nursing, not just food. There's physical pleasure, warmth, connection. A toddler discovers genitals feel good. That's not perverse, that's just bodily discovery. A child's intense love for a parent, passionate, exclusive, jealous. The Oedipus complex, simplified and not taken literally. The child wants total possession of the parent. The other parent becomes a rival. Then comes the realization that this is impossible. Forbidden. This creates guilt, anxiety, the first major psychological conflict. I know this sounds insane applied to a 4-year-old, but consider, have you ever seen a child say, "I'm going to marry mommy when I grow up"? Or get violently upset when the parents show affection to each other? That's the territory Freud was mapping. Not babies want sex. More like children have intense bodily attachments they can't understand or name. And when those attachments can't be fulfilled, and they never can be fulfilled, the child buries the desire, the rage, the shame. Or, another way to think about it, maybe it's not about sex at all. Maybe it's about the first experience of wanting something desperately that you absolutely cannot have, and having to find a way to live with that. Either way, intense, formative, mostly forgotten. So where does it go? Freud had a phrase for this. The return of the repressed. You bury something at age 5. At age 35 it comes back, but disguised. Not as memory, as pattern. A man afraid of commitment. Maybe he's reenacting an abandonment fear. A woman who keeps choosing abusive partners. Maybe she's repeating a dynamic with her father. The mechanism? Repetition compulsion. You don't remember the original scene, but you recreate it. You're trying to master it, solve it, undo it. The unconscious doesn't learn from experience. It just repeats, like scratching the same itch over and over, never noticing it's you doing the scratching. Here's the proof Freud noticed. His patients would reenact these dynamics with him. The woman who feared male authority couldn't speak in sessions. The man who needed to rebel against his father argued with every interpretation Freud offered. The transference. Patients recreating childhood relationships with the analyst. This happened even though the patients consciously wanted help. They couldn't stop themselves because they weren't remembering the pattern. They were living it, which is why talking doesn't simply fix things. Common idea, understand your childhood, get better. Oh, I have daddy issues. Problem solved. No, because intellectual understanding happens in the conscious mind. The problem is in the unconscious. It's like knowing intellectually that spiders aren't dangerous. Doesn't stop the panic. Freud's technique wasn't just interpretation. It was making the patient feel the old feelings. In a safe context, with the analyst present. The working through. You have to repeat it, re-experience it, metabolize it. You can't think your way out. You have to feel your way through. This is why analysis takes years, not weeks. Not because Freud wanted to make money, because dismantling defenses built over decades is slow work. Accessing feelings buried in childhood is terrifying. The mind resists its own healing. The resistance. The patient comes for help, then sabotages, misses sessions, gets angry, goes silent, because getting better means feeling worse first. You have to go through the pain you've been avoiding your entire life. And here's what nobody mentions. Back to the original question, what does childhood shapes you actually mean? Freud's answer, childhood is your first draft of reality. It's how you learn what love means, what danger is, who you are, but you learn it with inadequate tools. Child brain, overwhelming feelings, limited language. So you make theories about the world. If I'm good, I'll be loved. If I'm angry, I'll be abandoned. I'm responsible for others' feelings. These aren't conscious thoughts. They're structural. They become how you perceive, like wearing glasses you don't know you have on. Every new relationship gets filtered through the childhood template, the compulsion. You don't remember the original lesson, but you keep applying it, dating someone emotionally unavailable like your mother was, overworking to feel worthy like your father's approval was conditional, avoiding intimacy like vulnerability once led to hurt. And here's what should blow your mind. This happens even with good childhoods, not just trauma. Every child has to navigate desire, limitation, dependency. Every child has to repress something, because being human means wanting things you can't have. Civilization requires it. You can't just hit people, take things, demand constant attention. So everyone has an unconscious. Everyone has childhood material operating beneath the surface. The question isn't, do you have this? The question is, how much does it control you? Which means therapy isn't about excavating the past. Common idea? Dig up the old trauma, examine it, heal. Freud's actual process: make the unconscious conscious. Not just remembering, but recognizing your patterns while you're in them. Catching yourself repeating. Noticing, oh, I'm doing that thing again. The goal isn't to erase childhood. You can't do that. The goal is to have your adult brain available alongside the child responses. Like, you feel the abandonment panic, and simultaneously know this is my 4-year-old self talking, not current reality. Create space between trigger and response. Not overcome the past, integrate it. Or maybe better, stop being haunted by it. Stop having it possess you. You're still built from childhood, but you become conscious about the architecture. You can renovate without demolishing. One more thing. If Freud is right, you don't actually know why you do things. Your reasons are often rationalizations. The real reasons: buried, inaccessible. This should be humbling. You're not as self-aware as you think. Your conscious mind is a spokesperson for processes you don't control. Here's the kicker: you can't fully trust your own narrative about yourself. Not because you're lying, because you have limited access to your own machinery, like asking your stomach why it's digesting. It doesn't know, it just does it. Your psyche, mostly automated, mostly unconscious. Childhood installed the programs, you're running them without reading the code. Freud's challenge: can you bear to investigate? Most people know they prefer the sense of control, the coherent self-story. And maybe that's okay. We started with, how does childhood shape you? The answer: by creating unconscious structures you can't see. Operating systems installed before you could read, before you had words for what you felt, before you knew what a self even was. Next question: can you ever fully know yourself? Freud's answer: probably not. The keys were: unconscious is too vast, too deep, too layered, but you can know yourself better, bit by bit, pattern by pattern. That's the work. Lifelong. Never finished. I've got to stop somewhere. I could talk about dreams, about drives, about the death instinct, but you get the territory now. It's deeper and stranger than trauma matters. What you don't remember is still remembering you.